Welcome everybody back to the channel with another brand new video. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day today, and today's video is going to be a little bit special for you guys because this is going to be the first Wonder War guide video in my channel. Now, some of you guys been asking me to make videos on wonders for a very long time, and I was kind of trying to avoid making those videos because I don't really have that many years of experience on wonders, and I don't really even have a top tier wonder account so that I can go ahead and try a lot of different comps and do a lot of wonder wars. And yeah, I kind of had the fear that if I make a video on wonder, people would make fun of me. But however, this is going to be a very basic guide for the wonder comp, so it's going to be a really good starting point for any newbie rallies who are just getting into wonder wars anyway. So yeah. Now, I'm pretty sure that you guys already know that today I'll be talking about the comp 208. I think you guys can see it from the thumbnail and the title. Now let's try to understand what 208 is. 208 is a wonder comp that includes 20% inf troops and 80% cav troops, and it's specially designed to snipe 4-4 variants. A 208 can actually beat even a 4-4 of an opponent who is fairly stronger than you. Now you can also ask that why we use 208 instead of just a pure cav blast. Now the reason behind using a 208 is specifically to counter a range failings of a 4-4 variant. Sorry. When we send a pure cav to a range fail 4-4, even though the range is probably the smallest squad in the comp, it's still enough to destroy your cav. So the little bit of inf that we have in our 208 makes sure that it kills the range so that our cav doesn't get destroyed, and then after the range dies it can start hitting the rest of the troops of that comp. Now, when should we use a 208? There can be multiple occasions where you can use a 208. Now the first situation is going to be when you're against a stronger opponent and you see him using a 4-4 with a range shield fam specifically. You can try send a 208, because often when somebody use a range shield fam, it indicates that there is a really high chance of him using a range front or range failings, to be specific, because range wedge isn't really a good counter against that many comps. Although it often requires a lot of carps and it needs to be super quick to ensure that your opponent doesn't get the time to check the watchtower and counter you. But once it hits the range failings, it gets its job done. The second situation can be when a fort has less than 10-minute time left on it, which means that you don't really have a chance to do a second rally if you fail the first one. So to get a really high win rate, or to ensure that you're going to win the battle, you can go for a 208 if the opponent is using a 4-4. And the third situation can be in KBK, where you just want to farm a lot of points. Now we know that 208 ensures a really high win rate against a range fell 4-4, but that's not the only key point of a 208. It also does massive amount of damage against a counter. So if you see an opponent holding a 4-4 with a range shield fam, instead of going for a mix, you can go for a 208 so that you can get more kills, hence more points. With that being said, let's jump into the setup part. Now the first thing that we're going to be talking about on the setup part is going to be the talent. In my opinion, I would try to have a separate slot for my 208 set. So this is how it should look like. You have to make sure that your squad offense is all the way up, and you also have to make sure that your cav offense 1 and cav offense 2, cav offense 3 are all the way max, and also the inf offense 1, the inf offense 2, and the inf offense 3 are maxed as well. And then the other thing that you should focus on is going to be the squad health, which is going to be the army HP. So you have to make sure that your squad health 1 and squad health 2 are all the way maxed as well. You don't need any any range attack at all. So after doing all that, if you still have any talent points left, you can start using them in your squad defense. Okay, the second thing we are going to be talking about is going to be the heroes and the familiars. Now, many people use a separate set or a separate preset for a 208, but I don't really recommend using a separate preset for it. What I personally do is I just click on my calf blast and I do the rest from there. I will talk about the comp part later in the video, but let's explain the heroes and familiars first. So the four calf heroes are going to be absolutely mandatory. You have to make sure that you have the Rose Knight, because she is the best calf hero, and she's the probably one of the best overall army attack hero as well. Another reason why Rose Knight is super important is because of the calf HP. Then the other heroes that you can go for is going to be the Lore Weaver, the Stone Fox, and yeah, some other pay-to-play hero. If you don't have, you can go for something like the Child of Light or the Icarus or even Death Knight. In terms of familiar, I would recommend you guys to go for the Gargantua, the Frostwing, the Calf Shieldfam, obviously, then the Stacker, the Goblin, and then if you don't have a Jade, you can go for the Griffin. But if you have the Jade, you can use the Jade as well instead of the Griffin. And also you can use the exact same setup for your Calf Blast as well. So that's why you just don't really need another extra slot for your 208 preset. Okay, now the third thing that we're going to be talking about is our gear. Now usually you can go ahead and use your calf gear. Now you may not have the champ Faith, but in that case you can go for something like the drum, or at like maybe 3 drums, and if you have the router resolve, you can go for that as well. But this is gonna be helpful only if the opponent is probably same strength as you or probably even weaker than you. Or another case where you can use a pure calf blast gear is if the opponent doesn't have a thick range front. But if the opponent has a slightly bigger range front line, or if you think that the opponent might be stronger than you, in that case what you can do is go for a gear like this, for example. Now obviously you wouldn't have the exact same gear as the one that I'm using, but the main thing that you need to keep in mind is that you have to have enough infantry attack, or you have to make sure that you have enough infantry attack so that your infantry troops get enough stats against the thicker range front that your opponent is using. Now the fourth thing that we're going to be talking about is going to be the stats priority. So how are you going to jewel your 208 gear? Now personally, I wouldn't recommend you to go for like hardcore jeweling for your 208 set, but if you want, you can go for the cav attack. The second thing you can go for is the calf HP, and the third thing you can go for is probably the inf attack. Now let's say for a piece like Firewall Plate is where I'm going to be using the calf jewel first. Then the second thing that I'm going to use is going to be the army champ jewel or any kind of cavalry HP jewel. So it can be the saber fang as well, the saber fang jewel. And the third thing is going to be the infantry attack jewel. But for something like this, the Eonix, in this case, what I can do is I can use the cavalry attack jewel, and the second thing that I can use is going to be the dragon cavalry attack jewel, which we get from doing Dragon Arena. And the third thing that we can use is going to be the saber fang jewel. If I show you guys, it looks something like this. So it basically provides I think 15% HP. Yeah, 15% HP. Now that being said, let's talk about what comp you should go for. So when you're gonna set the rally, if you don't have a preset, what you can do is you can click on your calf preset, then you can go for a clear selection. Then what you can do is go for 50k to 100k ish, at least 100k. I would say 50k to 100k range, T4 range, because this range are gonna take damage. Okay, these are your range and they are gonna take damage. So you should not use T4. You should not use T5 range. Sorry. And then what you can do is you can use the rest of your troops for infantry. And what you can do is you can ask for 109 range, or you can ask for 208 range, or you can even ask for 307 range. Now, how are you going to determine that how much inf you're going to need? So again, as I said before, that if your opponent is really stronger than you and he's a little bit range attack heavy and his range front is a little bit thicker, you can try take a 307 type of range where you're gonna have a heavier inf troops, so that it ensures that it can kill all the range. But if you are going against somebody at the same strength level as you, or they don't really have a bigger front line, bigger range front line than usual, you can go for a 208 or even a 100 range as well. So I believe the sixth thing that we're going to be talking about is going to be the formation. Now everybody knows that we are supposed to use a range wedge for a 208, but this thing has a slight problem. And the slight problem is you are going to be winning the battle only if you can catch your enemy in range phalanx. Because as soon as your opponent starts using range wedge against your range wedge 208, it's gonna start failing, or your opponent's damage is gonna start decreasing. You see, when I was using a range fell 208, I lost the battle. But as soon as I went for a range wedge, the damage got shared between my inf and the calf, and the overall damage really decreased by a lot. Hence, I won the battle. And also, same goes for the calf phalanx as well. You don't really have that much of a chance of winning the battle against a calf phalanx or a range wedge. But there is a one trick that can save you against a range wedge, which is kind of a gamble. But you can try using range phalanx only if you are 100% sure that your opponent is going to be in range wedge. As you guys can see, I used a range phalanx 208 against my opponent's range wedge 4-4, which got completely obliterated. But again, as I said, that it's going to be a complete gamble, because this doesn't work very well against a cavalry phalanx. So you're gonna still lose the battle if you go against a calf phalanx. And if you guys are wondering what happens when you go for range phalanx 208 against another range phalanx 208, I think, yeah, that result isn't that pleasing either. You're still losing the battle. So this is why 208 is definitely really easy to use, but it's really vulnerable to any other formation other than a range phalanx. So yeah guys, that's gonna be it for today's video, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys found it helpful. And as I said, I'm not really experienced in wonders. I'm just here to give you guys the very basic knowledge about the comps. So if there anybody who is experienced in this comps, and if any of you find any type of mistakes or any misinformation in my video, you can comment it down below, and I will pin your comment or make a summary of the mistakes that I will end up doing in the video. Because obviously I'm not picture perfect, and I don't have the complete 100% accurate knowledge about the comps. With that being said, hope you guys have a nice day, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you guys in the next one.